Everybody, Jason Davis here, Davis Up Front, Compass Football, Day 8 at the World Cup in Russia. Lots of action to review today, lots of stories around the World Cup that we should talk about on this program. Thank you very much for checking us out. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at Compass Football. Check out the Facebook page, give us a like as well. Let's start with the three games today. Opener on a Thursday. 1-1 draw in Samara between Denmark and Australia. The Danes getting underway with a very nice goal from Christian Eriksen, set up by Nikolai Jorgensen. Played a very nice ball into Eriksen's path. A side volley from the Tottenham Hotspur man, and the Danes were rolling. The Aussies got back into the match thanks to VAR, thanks to a penalty call. And the decision to give a penalty, probably correct in the end. Certainly questions of what is a handball and what's not. VAR, in these situations, on a judgment call made on the field, does it actually do any good? Is that legitimately a handball by the laws of the game? Do we know what a handball is by the laws of the game, which seem to be vague on that specific area, just a little too much. The Aussies very happy for VAR, of course, after the match. And they are celebrating, cheering, chanting for VAR. Chanting for VAR. Can you imagine such a thing? Unbelievable. The Aussies very happy for VAR. Getting a draw and a point out of that game. And now moving on with a chance, a slim chance, perhaps, depending on how you view the Aussies, of advancing into the knockout rounds of the tournament. We also do have a look at some of the stats from that game today. The Danes a little bit better than Australia in a lot of areas, not in possession. The Aussies actually had a pretty decent amount of the possession in this game. You can see the passing totals there, the number of passes. Shots on goal, 10 attempts and shots for the Danes, 14 for the Aussies, both of them getting 5 shots on goal at the end of the day, and probably a fair result in the end. And a lot of narrow score lines in this tournament, lots of 1-0s. They got at least a couple of goals in this game. You have to feel for Josef Uari Poulsen, whose hand was up in that situation, allowed the Aussies to get the penalty and the goal. The second game of the day, and Yekaterinburg, France and Peru, which just wrapped up, a victory for the French, 1-0. Kylian Mbappe becoming the youngest goal scorer in the history of the World Cup for the French. They get the 1-0 win over Peru. Certainly, Peru disappointed by the way that their tournament has gone. They are now knocked out of the tournament here after their first return to the competition since 1982. Not what they wanted. They do have still one more game to play, and certainly their fans were very loud in the stadium in Yekaterinburg. Will be cheering, will be supporting their team, but disappointing nonetheless for Peru. As we speak right now, getting ready to kick off Argentina and Croatia, a massive game for La Albiceleste. Of course, a lot of pressure on Lionel Messi. We'll see how that one turns out. You may know the result and Lionel Messi's performance by the time you see this program, so we won't spend a whole lot of time on Argentina today. Let's take a look instead at the group standings at the World Cup. Group A, Russia. This will be a look at all the groups that have played 2 games so far in the group stage. Russia leading the way in Group A, the host, 6 points from 2 matches, a couple of wins over Saudi Arabia, over Egypt. Uruguay, also the same, 6 points. They now are tied with Russia at the top. Russia with the advantage on goal differential. Egypt and Saudi Arabia officially out of the tournament. So we'll see, what that dead rubber means for those 2 teams, just a way out the door. But Russia and Uruguay will now face off against one another for a chance to win the group. Group B, Spain, top of the group after the win over Iran yesterday. Maybe you call that a bit of luck. Iran not as bad as they were in their first match, of course, against Morocco, but had gotten that victory against Morocco. They actually did play relatively well against the Spanish, but could not find the goal. And you have to give the Iranians credit. They were game in this match, but they just couldn't put it together in order to challenge the Spanish. Diego Costa with the goal, I guess. I mean, you certainly could call that a lucky deflection for Diego Costa and Spain. Portugal in second place. They are on 4 points as well after their win over Morocco. A win over Morocco that's got some controversy to it, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. The Moroccans are officially eliminated from the tournament. It does look like the chalk will hold and Spain and Portugal will go through, but Iran has an outside chance depending on how the final matches of the group stage go. In Group C, after today's result with France knocking off Peru, France on 6 points, 2 wins from 2 matches. They lead the group. Denmark, after their opening win, the draw with Australia, are now on 4 points. The Aussies on 1 point. Still all to play for those three teams. And as we mentioned, Peru has been eliminated from the tournament. So they will be playing a match in the group stage that won't have a lot to do with anything. But they do have an opportunity to maybe play spoiler in this tournament. Lots of talk around the tournament so far about the performance of the favorites. We'll see what happens with Argentina against Croatia. If you want to call the Argentinians favorites, some people would question that just on the age and stability of their squad. Certainly the Germans are favorites in this tournament, defending World Cup champions. After that loss against Mexico, questions of whether or not that was a blip or reason to worry for the Germans. Now, defending champions haven't done very well in the next tournament in recent years. Spain knocked out the group stage in 2014 after winning the tournament in 2010. Italy knocked out in 2010 after winning the tournament in 2006. So your last 2 champions knocked out at the group stage in the next tournament. Could Germany be the latest to fall to that? We don't yet know if Jogi Löw has a couple of tricks up his sleeve and whether we'll see some changes for the Germans at training with their next group stage opponent, Sweden, coming up. Sami Khedira, midfielder for Germany, asked by a Swedish reporter, handed some tickets to send him home, I guess, to send Germany home, saying, "Do you need these tickets?" Sami Khedira said, "We don't need it. We don't want to go back home. We're thinking to win this game. After this bad start, we know that it's super difficult, but we know we are a strong team. We analyzed the game, we saw Sweden play, and we are sure that we are winning this game. I think we'll need them," meaning the tickets, "on the 16th of July. So Sami Khedira refuting the idea that Germany is going to be going home at the group stage. We shall see. They do play Sweden on Saturday in Sochi. The Swedish, tough to break down, can score a goal or 2 of their own. Set pieces and penalty kicks and those kind of things probably going to play a role because that's been the theme of the tournament so far. What about Spain, who did struggle to beat Iran yesterday, but has plenty of talent in that team to maybe go on a run to win the World Cup? They were not convincing in that game, and there will be questions, especially in light of what happened with their head coach, Lopetegui. After Julen Lopetegui was let go by the Spanish FA 2 days before Spain's opener in the tournament, there was a sense the Spanish might be able to handle this. They're a solid veteran team, and if anybody could get by with a change at coaching position just ahead of the World Cup, it would be the Spanish. Sergio Ramos and Gerard Piqué and Andres Iniesta, and so much talent and experience in this squad, so many champions at many different levels, club and country, that they would be able to handle it. Should there be doubt now about what Spain can do in the tournament? Certainly open to interpretation. Brazil, meanwhile, they've only played 1 group stage match. We just have the opener against Switzerland to judge them by. They play Costa Rica next, tomorrow, Friday. Costa Rica is not going to take it any easier on Brazil than the Swiss did. And of course, Neymar fouled 10 times by the Swiss in that game, limping around training for Brazil ahead of this match against Costa Rica, and there was some question as to whether or not he would be able to play. But according to Tom Marshall, Mexico World Cup on Twitter, who's in Russia covering the tournament, Chichi has confirmed that Brazil will field the same starting 11 versus Costa Rica as they did against Switzerland, which means Neymar starts. So, with Neymar starting, do we see Brazil taking care of business against the Costa Ricans, doing their job, doing what they need to do in order to make it through to the next round of the World Cup and meet their expectation as a potential World Cup champion? They got to get more than just Neymar on the ball, involved in the match. Neymar may be taking it upon himself to do a little bit too much. He doesn't like to pass perhaps as much as you might need to in a Brazilian team that has talent like Gabriel Jesus and like Willian and like Paulinho and so many of these players that Brazil has can make a difference for them. Another favorite, Under the microscope, France. Again, they get the 1-0 victory today. Will that be enough to convince people that this is a team that can go on and win a title? Didier Deschamps making a big high-profile change by putting Blaise Matuidi on the left-hand side of his midfield, putting Olivier Giroud back up top. It certainly seemed to make a difference from an attacking perspective for the French to have Olivier Giroud up there. He's a target. Things can happen off of him, including Kylian Mbappe, who scored, and Antoine Griezmann. So, is France looking better? Maybe they are looking better, but they don't look exactly convincing quite yet. So, if you're looking for a favorite who's meeting their expectations, there doesn't seem to be one available. Maybe you throw Belgium into the mix of favorites, and you can say that they've done well with their opener against Panama. We'll see what happens in their next group stage match. And England, not necessarily a favorite for most people, but maybe a team that could make a semifinal run if all things come together. And they earned some confidence off of that opening match against Tunisia with their victory, and Harry Kane doing the job to get things done for England. Let's hit some other World Cup stories. There's always a couple of wacky stories around the World Cup, weird stuff. I mean, controversy. I mean, how much controversy with Morocco and Portugal yesterday? Of course, Morocco not happy about the way things went down. They thought that maybe things could have been a little bit different for them on the day if a call or two had gone in a different direction. The aftermath of the game brought accusations of bad behavior on the part of Mark Geiger, the American referee who was in the center for the match. The Moroccan forward, Nourdine Amrabat, saying, I don't know what Geiger is used to, but he was very impressed by Cristiano Ronaldo. I've just been told by Pepe that in the first half he asked if he could have his shirt. Come on, man, what are we talking about? We're at the World Cup, not a circus here. So, and that's a heavy allegation, obviously, from Amrabat. If Mark Geiger did anything of the kind at the World Cup, either asking for Pepe's shirt at halftime or indicating any potential way he wanted to have some sort of keepsake from the game that he refereed yesterday. That's a serious allegation. FIFA, for their part, have battered it down. It is with regret and disappointment that following yesterday's Group B match between Portugal and Morocco, FIFA has learned of reports to the media concerning referee Mark Geiger. This is from the FIFA statement. It has been claimed that Mark Geiger asked for the shirt of the captain of Portugal during the halftime interval. Mr. Geiger strongly refutes these claims and categorically states that such a request was not made. FIFA unequivocally condemns the allegations supposedly made by a member of the Moroccan team. FIFA referees are under clear instructions with regard to their behavior and relationship with the teams at the 2018 FIFA World Cup Russia, and it can be confirmed that Mr. Geiger has acted in an exemplary and professional manner as an appointed match official. FIFA would like to remind teams of their duty to respect all principles of fair play. Now, if you're thinking, okay, well, maybe this is possible if FIFA just doesn't know, there's not a lot of evidence here, or what does Amrabat know that nobody else does? What did Pepe really say this? Jeff Carlisle of ESPN FC filed a story on this and said that a source close to Geiger said if Geiger said what's alleged, the source said that audio would be recorded and it'd be on tape. It's a live microphone at all times, and there is no way for Mark to mute it. So Mark Geiger, as the center referee, has a mic on him to communicate with the booth for VAR. Can't turn that mic off. Everything is recorded. That's probably a good idea on FIFA's part to make sure there is no referee malfeasance at this tournament. So Mark Geiger asking for a shirt would have gotten caught on tape. It certainly would be a bad move on Mark Geiger's part and get him in big trouble. My guess in this situation is that Amrabat was told this by Pepe as a means of Pepe getting into his head. It's Pepe. Why wouldn't he do something like that to try to get an advantage on an opponent? Pepe's always playing games, that Pepe. Elsewhere in Russia, the Russian Burger King company that runs Burger Kings in Russia, has had to apologize for the promotion that it put up on social media that offered female fans, female customers, a chance to win $47,000 and Whoppers for life if they got impregnated by a World Cup player during the tournament. The promotion was taken down Tuesday after a public outcry and protest from Russian politicians. I mean, what are you doing, Russian Burger King? Russian Burger King appears to be wild. They do stuff like this all the time. I suppose the idea from Russian Burger King was help Russian football have a talented child from a World Cup player. Not exactly the best way to sell Whoppers. Glad they took it down. Pretty horrific stuff. How about a better story? How about women in Iran being allowed to go watch the World Cup in the national stadium in Iran with their team at the tournament? Here's some video posted to Twitter. Women at this event. Now, originally, this was announced that women would be able to attend the World Cup World Cup viewing party at the stadium in Tehran. But when they showed up, there were police there who still didn't want to allow women into the stadium. So after some intervention on the part of Interior Minister Abdulreza Rahmani Fazli, women were allowed into the stadium and allowed to watch the World Cup with male fans as well. And Iran's had a long history of barring women from soccer matches. There was a great video a couple of weeks ago of a woman with a beard taking a selfie. She made her way into the stadium, got by security despite the fact that she was a woman. You shouldn't have to take that for women to watch football matches of any kind. So I hope this is the beginning of something for Iran as they move into the future, something that can become a movement. Football is for everybody. Soccer is for everybody. All right. I'm going to wrap up this edition of Davis Up Front, a World Cup special, Day 8. See what happens with Argentina. Friday bringing a host of matches as well. Of course, Mexico back in action on Saturday against South Korea. I myself committed to wearing a Mexico jersey. If Mexico beat Germany in the opener, I took a gamble and I lost. And now I have to buy and wear a Mexico jersey during their game against South Korea. I'm going to be doing that at McIntyre's in Washington, D.C. If you happen to be in D.C., find it. It's in Woodley Park. Come out, share a beer with me, enjoy the World Cup. Should be a good time, even though I will be distraught because I will be wearing a Mexico jersey. All right, that's it. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Facebook. Hit us up on those platforms for whatever you want from your football coverage here at Compass Football. As we get started, enjoy your World Cup, and we will talk to you very, very soon.